Well, happy Thursday, Ramblings viewers. As you know, if you're on the East Coast, it is a sunny, sweaty Thursday. So if you're with me on the East Coast, I hope you have your AC on. And as we're enjoying our AC, we have a very thrilling episode. As always, we really are going to be discussing really the connection that comes with being an alumni here at Westchester. We might have heard it said multiple times. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And that story is more truer than ever as we start to meet our future guests. But before we get into the meat of it all, as always, there's a game. So if you're tuning in live, you have about 24 hours to comment within the comments to win some swag from Westchester. And it has a very 70s theme to it all. I'm trying to win myself. So if you have ever worked with anybody who is a Westchester alumni, comment that in the sections, at them if they have a Facebook, and you might just get a chance to win some Westchester swag. So let's get to the stars of the show. We have three fellow Westchester alumni who have a very long tail of connections that got them all to be working all together under one big team over at the Medical Shore Center. So I'm going to introduce them now. We have Cindy, Alan, and Mike joining us. And we're just going to get to know a little bit about them, their time at Westchester, and how they are all together now in the professional world. So hi all, welcome.
Hi. Hello,
Awesome.
hi.
So I know it might have been a while, but I'm going to, since there's three of you, I'm going to go back to orientation days, that first day of class where we do those icebreakers. And I just want you all to go around, just give me your name, where you're from originally, what made you go to Westchester, what did you study, and what year did you graduate? So it's a lot, but just kind of give us your overall Westchester introduction.
Why don't I start? I'm Alan Beatty. Welcome, everybody. Glad to be here. I actually got to Westchester through the music program. I'm originally from Easton, Pennsylvania. I knew I'd been in the band for a long time. I wanted to stay in the band access. I knew I wasn't going to be a music major, but a lot of my friends from school ended up going to Westchester, and that was my first choice from the get-go. Got accepted, was going down there in the summer for band camp, getting started right from the very beginning. Was a freshman, actually all 4 years. I was a resident at Killinger Hall.
Oh, wow.
And for those that are on these ramblings and had been with Westchester for a while, you understand back then it was the all-male dorm at the time, with the knowledge that it was called the zoo. And it had a reason for that as the all-male dorm. But, it was a great experience for me to be able to get acclimated to the college environment with the group of people that I ended up being best friends with. The group of us from the freshman year stayed together all 4 years pretty much in Killinger, and were all my best friends, going through school and actually out of school.
You had a great head of hair.
What's that? I'm sorry.
You have a great head of hair in this photo.
I wish I had that head of hair still. That's the problem with my hair. When it got longer, which it was a little long then, I had the bozo look, which means it just curled out. Nothing I had to do about that for the curls. But yeah, you look back at the pictures back then, and it's like, wow, where'd that person go? But it was a great time. I can't tell you how much, reminiscing with this group here around me today about our times back there has brought back such great memories that I'm sure we'll share some stories today that we didn't even talk about before, and very excited about that.
Now, real quick, what instrument did you play in the band, and what did you end up studying?
I was a business major. I played the trumpet. I wasn't the lead. There was a lot of music majors that were a lot better than me. But one of my thrills was senior year, we did a Chuck Mangione song, and I was one of the soloists for the song. So, playing in front of 60,000 people at the Vet for an Eagles game that year was one of my thrills of my life.
Wow, that's awesome. Not many people can say that, so congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that was a good, strong intro. Who wants to follow that?
I'll go ahead.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm Cindy Miller. I graduated from high school from Gwen and Mercy Academy in 1976. So I was looking for a big school at 56 in my high school graduating class. So for me, a big school was 6,000 students. So Westchester was really perfect at the time. I majored in communications. Oh yeah, that's my college graduation picture. That was my Susan Day Partridge Family look.
I like it. I love the bangs. I say bring them back.
Really beautiful. So I lived in Sanderson Hall my freshman year, and then after that, I lived in Ramsgate for the rest of my college days. I graduated. Actually, I was the class of '80, but I graduated in December of '79, and through college, it was great. I got really involved in my major. I was on the debate team, and my partner and I actually, my last year, were the debate champions for Westchester. I was on the forensics team. We went up to Penn State and competed up there. On my time when I was not, worried about studies and those types of organizations, I spent most of my time at the TCALs. They were all my great friends. I was in Delta Zeta. So we spent a lot of time at Jake's Bar, at the Rat. There's my apartment. Back there was my apartment at Ramsgate. Football games, tailgates, intramural sports, lots of great memories. Still stay in touch with a lot of people, mostly via social media these days, but great experience at Westchester.
Do you remember your apartment number at Ramsgate?
Oh my gosh, I have no clue. I just remember that I was like so happy that we were across. That seemed like a lake or a river.
Yes.
And it's like not even a stream.
Oh, it's literally a puddle of water
that's
just getting bigger and bigger every year.
Like today, we would put our beach towels out and all lay out in the sun out there, and it was heaven, really.
It did make it feel like you were in your own little oasis. I know. I feel like I had a few friends, so I was curious if maybe you were the same number as them.
yeah, I was the brick one, the brown brick apartment.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So Jake's was right up the street, and we spent time there. And then as I said at the TCALs, like Greek weekends were awesome. We would have all kinds of Greek competition, and they were good times.
And you have a crazy story, but I don't want to spoil the fun. So everybody hang out and wait, because she has a crazy story about the TCALs where she was basically a firefighter. And then we'll wrap up with Mike. So tell us about your story, Mike.
Hi, Angelica. Yeah, Mike Smith. I grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and graduated from a small Catholic high school. I think our graduating class was about the same size as Cindy's. At the time, my oldest sister was in Westchester. She had just gotten back from Vietnam a few years back and was studying political science. I was considering the service. I think she just got back from Vietnam and said, I think you should probably not do that and look at Westchester. So I came down there and fell in love with the place, and started there in '77. I was undeclared at first. And then I chose criminal justice as a major. My first year, I lived in Killinger Hall. That's actually where I met Alan. Cool. A lot of good times there. As he said, it was a bit of an animal house. All kinds of different guys lived there. Band members, football players, baseball players, everybody. So, and as with Alan, the people that I met there are still my best friends. And one of them is the godfather of one of my son's kids. And we just continue to hang out and be friends. So it was a great time. I then went to McCarthy Hall, I think was the name of it. I don't think it's there anymore. I spent a year there, and then different apartments, Church Street, 17 South Church Street, Walnut Street, High Street. I was there for several years. So got a job at the Rat, which was the local hangout. I think I started delivering pizzas to the dorms, which was interesting. A few stories there, not as good as maybe some of Cindy's, but then I graduated to cheesesteak maker and pizza maker, and then eventually bartender. So that was my Westchester story.
I honestly feel like I've missed out on such a big Westchester moment, because I was there when the Rat was like a figment of people's imaginations. It was like this thing everybody talked about, but it closed right before I started. So I always get so upset when I hear about the Rat, because I wish I had those stories, but we had Jake, so kind of all balanced out.
A lot of fun.
Oh, I bet. Now, I know Alan and Mike are connected. Obviously, you lived together, you were friars all throughout college, and then Cindy is now connected to the two of you because of because of professionals. So talk me through how we're all here today, why the three of you sit next to each other now, how you all work together. Kind of walk me through the trio that is the Westchester group at your company.
So I've been at Shore for 31 years. So this has really been my home for a long time. In my role as in human resources, I'm responsible for hiring individuals within the organization. A few years ago, we had a position in our human resource department where we were looking for a manager level role, and I was doing the interviewing, and I was looking through applications. And as I'm looking through the applications, I see this one individual who's been working in the casino industry for some time, has great experience. I look at where she went to school, and it says Westchester. And I'm, even though there's nothing on there that basically says when you graduated, because we were not allowed to ask that question,
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of figuring out, I think she graduated around when I went to school. So I have Cindy come in for an interview. And my first question to her, actually, I'll let her tell that part.
Yeah, so the first question that Alan asked me, and I hadn't interviewed for a job in 22 years. I was the EEO officer when I left resorts, but, had never changed companies there, just as we merged and acquired, moved around. So my kids were asking me questions for 2 weeks, having not interviewed. And I thought I knew every single question I could possibly be asked. And before I even sit in the chair, Alan says to me, "Who was your favorite college professor?" And I thought, who the heck asks you that at 50 years old? And,
oh my goodness.
But, I immediately had an answer. It was Miles Martell. And the story there quickly is that I was a research assistant for him. He was a speechwriter at the time for the governor of Pennsylvania. And he had asked me to research the possibility of legalized gambling in the Poconos. And it was already legalized in Atlantic City. So that's kind of, because of him is what led me to Atlantic City. I did that research and, really loved the gaming industry and, ultimately ended up there.
Wow.
So I ended up offering the job. Cindy accepted the position and has been with us doing a great job and advancing within the organization since that time. Yeah,
so it kind of brought me full circle because when Alan said, "Who was your favorite professor?" there again came Dr. Martell. And, I kind of credit him for kind of my path as where I ended up. But now I am the Senior Director of Strategy and Development for Shore Physicians Group. So we are the outpatient portion of the hospital plus the hospitalist inside. So I'm responsible for recruitment. If anybody's a doctor out there, I'd love to have you get in touch with me. We're a multi-specialty group. And I'm responsible for that, informatics, operations, marketing, etc. So it's been a great career to transition from hospitality to healthcare.
It's almost like it is a little form of hospitality as well.
Well, it is. I mean, honestly, the word hospital comes from hospitality.
Yeah, because even though it might not be as fun as the casinos, there still is a level of care and providing and customer service. So that's that's a great circle. That's great for viewers too, to think broadly too, what can this lean into something else as well?
And I'm actually worked in casinos prior to coming here. And the casino industry is a small industry, but the one nice part is I loved working in the casinos, but the fact that we're taking care of patients in this community and providing that type of caregiving is a little bit different than having somebody gambling their money, and earning a living that way. So altruistically, it's kind of nice to have that feeling that you're offering a job and doing a job that is ultimately taking care of the community.
That is great. I mean, two extreme opposites, but all great, it's fun.
So the other part is with meeting Mike. We had a position open for a revenue cycle manager, director of revenue cycle. We had at the time somebody who was doing consulting work for us. And, we asked her if she had anybody in mind for that she thought would be a opportunity for a role with us. And I'll let Mike finish the sentence.
Yeah, I was talking to this mutual friend of ours, and she said, why don't you check this out? I had been in healthcare IT for 25 plus years. I started with a company out of Malvern called Shared Medical Systems, which probably many of our alumni may have ended up at. And then that was purchased by Siemens. But I'd been doing that for a while. I was consulting. I was traveling a lot. I was kind of tired of airplanes and hotels. And our friend said, why don't you check this out? So we talked a little bit about it, and we sent emails back and forth. And she said, do you remember an Alan Beatty from Westchester? And I went, Killinger Hall. Yes. So I think literally within days, I was down here for the interview, and I was in the administrative conference room, and Alan walked in, and he looked at me, I looked at him. It was just like old days. We actually gave each other the Friars handshake.
Oh my goodness.
And the rest is history. I've been here 7 years, and it's been just a tremendous experience working with Alan, Cindy, and the entire, I'll call it family here at Shore. It's a great place to be.
That's awesome. Now, with all of your different departments, do you work together a lot, or do you just kind of get together for lunch and talk about Westchester?
No, we're not. I mean, we're over 1,000, about 1,200 employees, but we see each other almost on a daily basis. There's something interacting in regards to our responsibilities on a daily basis.
Wow. So I know I asked Cindy this earlier before we went live, but so you didn't know either of them when you were in college, but you think you might have known.
No, I didn't. I didn't know Alan, and Mike always seemed familiar to me every time I saw him.
Now we know.
When we were talking recently, and he mentioned he was a bartender at the Rat, I said, well, that's probably where I knew you from then, because when I went to Westchester, there were about 3 or 4 Cindy Millers. And in those days, you didn't have your picture on your license. So it was really easy to borrow someone's license and get into the bar. So I was in there freshman year.
They didn't have photos on licenses?
No, not back then. No, you just had to show your school ID, which had a picture, and you had to show your driver's license. So it was like a no-brainer.
And
I learn something new every day.
The Pennsylvania state license was really a piece of paper. And people used to use a variety of creative ways to change the birth date. And the bouncers at the bar, they knew every trick. So it was really kind of funny. Cindy got through, but I do recall probably Cindy too.
Oh my goodness. I almost wish like maybe you had a photo where he was in the background and, there's like little moments that pop up, but that's crazy. What a small little world. And now you're all together. So now that we're in like the professional cycle of life, talk to me about just your time within Shore Medical, how it's been, especially with this last year, how did COVID-19 really impact your day-to-day in the office professionally? And, how did you, sort through that?
Well, I can start with the physicians group. It was really crazy because we have 13 outpatient offices. It's multi-specialty. So we have surgeons, general surgery, plastic surgery, reconstructive surgery, neurosurgery, orthopedics, and then all of the primary care doctors and specialties. And on Friday, we talked a little bit about COVID. And on Monday, things were shutting down. People weren't coming into the office. In 2 days, my team and I were up around the clock at my house, actually, for about 48 hours. And everybody was Zooming in and calling in. And we brought telehealth up in about 3 days. So it was incredible. I work with the most amazing team and the best doctors ever. Our doctors, our hospitalists inside the hospital had, new protocols as far as communication with family and, safety protocols. And they were unbelievable. They worked so hard. Obviously some of the providers got COVID and the others covered them and did double shifts where needed. And I can't say enough about the hospital system and the dedication of the staff and the doctors.
I mean, this year just has to have been like a whirlwind of learning and developing and processing quickly. So, it's just going to, even though it was horrible in the moment, it really does help you just keep moving forward. So thank you so much to you and your team this past year, because we probably would have not been where we are today without people like you. So thank you.
Thanks.
Sure. As the director of revenue cycle, it's kind of like a big word for a variety of different departments.
I was going to say, what is that?
All of the places a patient might register, be admitted, the ED, outpatient registration, admissions, those places. So those folks report to directly up to me, our billing and collections team, our follow-up team, scheduling team, medical records. So all of them under that umbrella were directly affected by COVID. Obviously, our frontline staff, I can't say enough about them, because where some of our team were forced literally to then work from home, they couldn't. And they had to be here every day. And, they were warriors. And so they did a fantastic job. And then the folks that had to move home, what a change, right? You got the kids running around the house, and you've got to be on the phone and your computer. Our IT team that made sure that all those folks were set up. Definitely one of the most challenging year and a half of my career. But as Cindy said, and Alan will say, we did it. And you know what? It was one day at a time. Some cases it was 1 hour at a time, and we're continuing to ensure that we're able to take care of our patients, our community, and each other. So that's a little bit about how that affected me.
That's impressive. Well, thank you. That's a lot. That's a lot to pack in 1 year. And then, Alan, how, obviously when COVID hit, a lot of people were either out of jobs, looking for jobs. So from your end, being in human resources, what did that look like for you?
Well, it was a little chaotic, to put it mildly. We, as Cindy was saying, one day we're operating normally, and then the next day we're having discussions about how do we right-size the organization in an environment that nobody knew what that actually meant. How long were we going to be in this COVID environment? Who would have thought back then that even today we'd still be dealing with what we're dealing with from the COVID? We had to protect the interest of the organizations so that we could continue to be here long term. But again, what did that long term mean? Was telehealth now going to be more of what we're going to need to look at as we got out of it? So we had to address the staffing issues, but we still also had to take care of everybody that was still on site and protect their interest. I also have the employee health mechanism. So now I have to worry about when one of our employees did get COVID, tracing that, finding out where did they get it from, contacting all the employees that they may have been around, putting in the quarantine principles so that we could make sure that everybody is safe and protected from whatever may have been out there. Looking at that, as simple as how do we get food to the people? One of the things that absolutely was amazing for us was our community. Again, I love living in this community. We had probably a stretch there of 2-3 months where somebody in the community delivered food for the organization.
That's great.
And our big issue for us is, who gets the food today? We wanted to make sure we divvied around and everybody got access and had availability to it. So those type of things were the fun part about what was going on, because those put a smile on everybody's face. But we tried to keep the place going in a way that, knowing it was very stressful, knowing that it was very tenuous, knowing that we were putting our employees in harm's way, even with providing all the PPE, the personal protection, you're still dealing with the patients who potentially could have a negative outcome. And as they both said, because of who we are as an organization, this organization thrived and was successful. And I think if you looked at the community as a whole and asked about what we've been able to do over the last year and a half, I think the majority of the people would say that thank God we were here for them.
Yeah, I could imagine. I mean, especially because that community is not small, but small. And to have such a big hospital and medical center right in the middle of it does help tremendously. So honestly, big kudos to you and your whole team. That's a full year and a half that could take up a lifetime for some people. So thank you again. And kind of obviously college couldn't have prepared you so much for this year in a whole, but it definitely does have, has some stay on what you're doing now. And you could probably look back, and a lot of the community that you talk about now probably started from when you were in Westchester. So looking at Westchester in your time, I do want to get into some of the fun reminiscing that we were getting in earlier. And Alan, did being a pinball wizard help you at all this past year?
Well, it kept me out of trouble, and it got me to meet some people. Having all the pinballs over at Sykes, you get to meet the people who aren't from where you're from and start learning new names and getting new experience by meeting these people. I got that within the first couple months of going down there. So I don't know if that was a good thing or bad thing that I was spending more time than I should have with that. But
I didn't even know there was pinballs in Sykes. Where were they, on the first or bottom floor?
First floor. As you went up the stairs, that first level, they had a whole arcade of pinball machines up there.
I say Westchester, bring that back. I want an arcade. I live very close to campus. I want to go to an arcade. So how does one become a pinball wizard? Like, did you win so many times, or was that just like a name that was given to you?
No, it was just it was a tournament. I think there was probably about 30 or 40 of us, and you got paired up, you'd win one game. It'd be like the NCAA March Madness. It was a block, and you got whittled down to the final two people, and I ended up winning on the final pairing. The interesting part was Tom, who I competed against, was also from Easton and from the band in Easton. So I don't know if that speaks about what we did in Easton in our spare time. But
there's a trend.
TM was a friend of mine at the time, so it was fun competing. But to go to your point, it did help me because I found, being at Sykes, I found out more about the Residence Hall Association, about things that were going on, that you could get active in. And I ended up being an RA at Killinger. I ended up being, I think, the vice president for the RHA Association. I don't know if RHA is still there, but
I believe so.
The Resident Hall Association. So I really did get I got into activities as a result of me just going across the street and meeting people and talking to people.
And then it also kind of maybe brought you to the Friar Society where you met Mike. So Mike, tell me about your time within the Friars with Alan.
Oh, well, it was great. A great bunch of folks. I was honored to be selected to join the club of the society my sophomore year, where my current roommate at the time, Bill Eisenbray, was a friar, and he nominated me. And just met a whole bunch of great guys. Many of them we knew through our classes, right? Mm-hmm. Through just interacting throughout the campus. The ability to provide service to the community, raise money for different things was outstanding, and just the social aspect of it too, right? Hanging out with Alan and all the guys. I remember the football games, right? We had to sell hot dogs and soda and hot chocolate and stuff under Barrel Stadium, right? And then we would, of course, get together after the game and make our way back to campus. Yeah.
Get together. Now, can you spot both of yourselves in the photo right now?
I can spot Alan.
I can't spot Mike. I know he's there, but I can't find him. I think he's hiding in the back row.
He might be hiding in the back row, yeah.
So wait, which one's Alan?
I'm in front row. I'm kind of center. I was president that year, so they
nice.
They put me front and center on it.
Yeah, he was the big Goomba up front.
Yeah, I was the one with the tie that I couldn't tie right.
I mean, ties are hard. Even now, I don't know how men wear ties all day.
Anymore.
That's it's a lot. At least women just get to wear nice necklaces and be free. So then, Cindy, obviously there was a start of you helping people in college. I know earlier you were telling me about what transpired at the Teak House.
Oh, yeah. So I definitely was not a firefighter at that time. I was down in the basement with probably 300 other people at a party. And someone said there's a fire, and everyone downstairs, including me, just thought it was too crowded downstairs. They were just trying to get people out. And then some of my friends at the top of the stairs at that time, I remember looking up and they were like, no, it's real. And then we started to see smoke and we went out. And on our way out, there was a dog there, an Irish setter that had just had puppies. So people were grabbing puppies, and I grabbed one of the puppies, and that dog, eventually became my dog for the next 13 years.
Oh my goodness. What did you name the dog?
Shannon. It was a beautiful Irish setter, but it was the Teak House dog that had the puppies. And then all of those guys moved into the basement of Killinger Hall.
That poor Killinger Hall has been through a lot.
Yeah.
So where was the Teak House? I'm trying to picture
High Street. It was right on High Street. That's an old picture of it, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. One block up from what used to be, well, it's not there anymore. McCarthy Hall, right there at the corner. And if you went towards the town downtown. It was
Yes.
one block up on the left-hand side,
Just a bit up from Phillips.
Yeah.
just up from Phillips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I know exactly what you're talking about. Wow, that's a story. If I was ever in a basement and there was a fire, I don't even know what my mind would go into. I definitely wouldn't be saving a puppy. So kudos to you. It feels like maybe you were meant to be in this field for a very long time. Oh, that's wild. So I know too, Mike, you have like a huge family. Oh, wait, Cindy, is that you and DZ?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, nice. Do you know
I
where
think
you
I'm in the
are
middle
there?
right there. I'm sitting in the chair in the middle. That's me.
Now, were you and DZ all 4 years?
No, I think I was in my last 3 years.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. I mean, Greek life became a big part of my Westchester experience. I actually found this. This is my orientation book from Westchester, 1976, 77. And I remember when I was looking at it, I thought, because I did go to such a small high school, maybe it would be good to have that nuclear group of friends. And I found that in Delta Zeta. My roommates were, from Delta Zeta. And, then of course the guys from Teak, we spent a lot of time together and socialized and, formal Christmas parties and tailgates. And it was really nice.
It is nice. I think that's the best part about Westchester is that there are so many organizations.
Yeah.
So everybody does get their nucleus, like you were saying, and you really can create your little group within this big campus that is. So like the Abbeys and the Friars and DZ and Teak. It's nice to have those people and that group that you can turn to. So that's awesome. It makes me miss it. I miss it so much. So then Mike, you have you now have a family of Rams forming, right? Correct? Talk to me about your son and your daughter-in-law.
Sure. Yes. We're happy. We're happy to have 3 children, 3 wonderful children. One of which is in a picture there, Corey and his lovely wife, Rebecca. Corey and Rebecca went to high school together in Phoenixville, but chose to go to Westchester together as well. They graduated together and then eventually got married, and now are the proud parents of little Callum. And so he's another Ram. A funny story is Corey was trying out for the golf team, and we had to meet the golf coach at Sykes, the community center, right at Sykes. So I walked in early with Corey, and I'm like, oh wow, let me show you around, show you here, and show you there. And I used to go up here and I play pinball over there, and it's not there anymore. And the coach was waiting for us, and Corey's just grabbing me, saying, all right, Dad, enough reminiscing. Let's go talk to the coach. Corey went on to be a member of the golf tournament or the golf team, captain his senior year. And so it's a great story. Yeah. And he loved, and Rebecca loved Westchester as well. Great stories.
I love that. Now, I know that they just recently had a child as well. Do you think he will be a future Ram?
I'll probably leave that up to Corey and Rebecca, but that could be a very good possibility for sure.
What a fun story! That would be a great circle. So as we start to close up, I do just want to go around. You've all shared amazing stories, advice, reminiscing where you are now. So to really end this episode, if you had any advice for either an incoming student or a current graduate, what would be your advice for them?
Let me start that, and let me just give another connection here. We recently brought on an intern from Westchester, from the public health department. And Ashley has already done such a good job. She's already been hired to help us in a part-time role. So you said earlier, somebody mentioned about, it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's really both. You have to have a baseline of skills and knowledge to be successful in life. But there's nothing wrong with knowing people and setting foundations of who you've worked with and what you've done in regards to your past, because it will come forward at some point in time. We joke in this area that the casino industry and the hospital industries are small industries relatively. Everybody knows each other. So, for me to find out about how somebody's done or what they've done and how they work, it's not that difficult of a proposition. But knowing that I've got somebody with a baseline of being from Westchester or some other connection is always a good thing. And if you can be active in what you do and show that you've got the wherewithal to be involved and engaged, those were all things. I wasn't the best student at Westchester. Admittedly, I made it through. I didn't flunk anything, but what I learned and grew in was being active and being involved and understanding that I can help and influence things by being involved and participating. So use what you're getting or use what you've gotten from school and leverage that where you can, because it does give you a great baseline to move ahead.
I couldn't agree more.
I don't know if my colleagues here want to touch on that anymore.
Yeah, sure. I would just say, take advantage of where you are at Westchester. It's a fun place to be. I had a great time. I don't know of another college where, my two phys eds where one was ice skating and one was horseback riding.
Wait, you had ice skating as a phys ed?
Ice skating.
Oh, I didn't know about the ice
skating rink was one. I was like, really did not want to take phys ed. When I started to take ice skating, and then my last semester I took horseback riding. Amazing.
I didn't know them.
And, small college, I mean, the guys used to come around to the dorms and the apartments and do Christmas caroling and, fun and parties. And, again, it's like, these are your friends for life. You have great memories and, it was a great place to be. I'm glad I didn't go to an inner city school. Westchester was beautiful.
I loved it. Find your nucleus. I liked that advice earlier. That was good.
I guess I'm going to use the saying that actually my daughter-in-law, Becca, uses: not all those who wander are lost. I went to Westchester undeclared. I eventually decided on being a criminal justice major, ended up in healthcare, and 25, 30 plus years in healthcare. The story, I guess, there is Westchester gave me the tools to not be afraid to change, to make decisions, gave me the tools to interact, to work with people. And I used those tools and eventually, found a niche. So for those of you that want to go to Westchester, you don't have to know what you need to do right away. And eventually it'll all work out. Everything happens for a reason.
It's so true. And Westchester is a great place to kind of wander in a little lost, because it really does help you kind of figure out who you're going to be after. So that's great.
And for those of you who are looking for possible careers, see me. Reach out to Shore Medical Center, Allen Beatty. I'm more than happy to have conversations. We are always looking for great people to be employed here, whether it's in the clinical fields, nursing or respiratory or whatever, or in the administrative support areas. This has been, as I said, 31 years of being my family. I bleed purple. I bled purple when I was at Westchester. I continue to bleed purple here. So it is been a great place, and would love to have more grads here working with us.
Yeah, just put WCU on the resume, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
and put in the cover letter that you watched this episode. A little
Nod,
make us feel famous. Why not?
Yep.
And then final thing before we wrap up, just a little moment of pride. What makes you so proud to be an alumni of Westchester?
Just the fact that it was like a family for me. I came from not a small town, but a small school, and just got kind of plopped there. And I'm proud of Westchester because it helped me grow. It helped me mature. It gave me friends for life, right? And that's one of the reasons that I'm so proud of it. And the fact that my son Corey felt the same way about it. Friends for life that he still talks to and hangs out with. So that would be it. It's a great place. It's a great place.
Oh, I love it. Cindy?
Yeah, I would say that I'm proud to be a Westchester grad because it was just a fantastic experience, and it was a state school. I got a great education, and I didn't have to go to a private college. I went to a private high school. I was happy for my parents at the time. A credit was $300 a credit. It was $900 a course. I just looked in my book. It was $1.70 for dinner. So, I feel like I'm proud to have gone there and gotten the education that I got at a value price. It was the best decision I probably made for myself and my family.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, my pride was, in fact, what they described, but it continues to be what I see Westchester continuing to do. When I see, being the band geek that I was, and all the accolades that the band continues to get.
Yeah.
When I see, the state schools of Pennsylvania, some of them struggling, and yet Westchester is kind of the cornerstone of how to run a successful program, how to run a successful school. When I see the new buildings that are being built, when I see, people graduating that I get to work with, and what they come out with, their education and the skill sets, it's the core of what I achieved when I was there, but it continues to be the core of what I see the school itself continuing to be for the area and for the kids that are coming out of it.
Oh, every time I do one of these episodes, I get more and more and more proud of Westchester. So I love that. Now, before we all close up together, I am just going to go jump to a commercial break that I think you three will also be interested in hearing, because when I heard the commercial break, I was also intrigued. So just a quick commercial break for you alumni out there. You might be interested to know that the perks of being an alumni at Westchester just got a whole lot better with Perks Connect at no cost member benefit. As a Westchester University Perks Connect member, you get exclusive offers and discounts on over 300,000 local deals, including dining, sporting events, movie tickets, concert tickets, travel, home, auto insurance, and a whole lot more. So register today and start saving. If you would like to feature your alumni business on our Perks Network, just contact us. So, as a WCU alumni, I love a good perk. So I'm going to be hitting that up. You three can hit it up. So as we close up, any final thoughts before we say goodbye to our live viewers?
Just thank you. We appreciated this. I thought it was intriguing, the fact that the three of us being so close around the school at the same time, and it's just been a joy working with the two of them and having the opportunity to have this discussion and share our stories has been fun.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, even though I didn't go to school with you, I feel like I was part of your year because it was fun to reminisce. So thanks so much. Have a lovely rest of your summer over at Shore Medical. Have a great fall, and we'll hope to see you at homecoming. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to comment in the comment section if you worked with an alumni for a chance to win. You have 24 hours to leave your comments. So the three of you can technically leave a comment if you want to and win. So be sure to log those comments, and we'll see you next episode. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.